Good morning, yogis. Namaste. I hope everyone is well. I do want to say some things first. You know that I'm so concerned about all of you, and just stay home for the rest of the holidays, please. If you can, just stay with the ones that you love. I know we have COVID fatigue. We've had it for a while, but it's not over, and I just want you all to be safe. So we will also be doing mostly everything online. I will be preparing some yamas and niyama workshops and a bunch of workshops that we could do on Zoom, and more information will come to you so that we could be interactive with it. But I'm not planning on going anywhere right now, so please stay home. Yeah, I love you all too much to hear any bad news. So today, I've come up with a practice that's going to start off in a yin fashion, but then it's going to turn into a restorative fashion. That's why I have all my stuff behind me. I have blankets, I have blocks, I have a strap, I have my bolsters, I have my zabu, and I have everything that I need. And if you need to go get that, please go get your stuff. Today's subject matter is going to be Sacral Chakra. And the approach to this practice, look, Svadhisthana is really in the pelvic area, right? And in our reproductive organs, in this lower part, it's the second chakra. And I will talk a little bit about it in a moment. But our pelvis is, you know, anatomically, you know, this is, and you those of you who know me know how my process is, that I need to break things down on a physical level for us as well. And our pelvis is not a unified thing. Our pelvis is a split in half. We have one side here and one side here, and the sacrum, it joins at the sacrum, right? So when people usually do a Svadhisthana sequence, they do this unilateral thing with the hips. And I think that is a disservice because we are different. And so we need to open up either side the way either side needs to open up. So we will be doing asymmetrical poses on the bolster, which is maybe quite different for a lot of us. So that's why I would like for you to have some blankets so that we could support the opposite side. So there's a lot of stuff, the info that I'm going to give you on how to set your blankets up and stuff. So remember, we are going to be doing asymmetrical poses on the bolster. So I would like you to have props to help support that. That was my speech. So let's, you know, and there's so many things going on, right? There's a beautiful full moon outside, and I'm also going to talk about how Svadhisthana reacts with the moon. But let's talk about Svadhisthana. Now, Svadhisthana is the quality of water, and today also I would like you to maybe repeat the bija seed of Vam, V-A-M, Vam, throughout the practice, and you will feel a little vibrational energy going down towards the pelvic region. Yeah. The qualities of water, the Svadhisthana associated element, epitomize this chakra's nature. It's liquid, flowing, flexible, and adaptive. Water also has cleansing and purifying properties, which is appropriate because when this chakra energy becomes unbalanced or blocked, it creates the feeling of having done something wrong or shameful. The sacral chakra is associated with the sense of taste, and the taste symbolism of everyday conversation hints at its energy. And when you are with someone, when you think of someone or wish someone sweet dreams, relates, we could say, I had a bitter memory, or bemoan a soured relationship, you enter the world of Svadhisthana chakra. When the Svadhisthana chakra is open and balanced, you blossom as a person. You are sensitive, intuitive, idealistic, full of dreams, plans, and healthy desires. You are adaptable, accept change, and can go with the flow. However, going too far down this route throws the energy of the sacral chakra off balance, resulting in constant flux, an inability to ground yourself or set boundaries, and a tendency to become over-emotional or highly theatrical. You might spend too much time daydreaming or attach too much importance to gratifying your sensual tastes. The butterfly flitting from flower to flower and the fish that allows itself to be caught through greed symbolize such imbalances. If your sacral chakra is blocked or unbalanced, it becomes difficult to taste life's sweetness. Nothing seems good enough and depression can ensue. You may feel as if you have no choice, no ability to change, and no initiative. Creatively, you may suffer from a type of writer's block. Some people with an unbalanced sacral chakra seem over-emotional. Others become insensitive to their own emotional needs and those of others, and may be unable to express feelings. In extreme cases, this can even lead to aggression. Sometimes people become manipulative and prone to false displays of emotion, such as crocodile tears. Blocked or imbalanced sacral chakral energy can also bring denial of pleasure and can manifest in unyielding self-imposed boundaries, including some extreme yoga practices. So, the sacral chakra governs the body's liquid element: blood, lymph, mucus, semen, urine, saliva. It's the seat of kidney energy. And in Chinese medicine, it's regarded as the basic vigor of our life and maintains the kidney, bladder, urinary, reproductive, and circulatory systems. So, contrary to popular ideas, opening the sacral chakra is not only about enhancing our sexuality. Achieving balance means directing energy so that it becomes a force of awareness. Opening this chakra is more about letting go of guilt and frustration and enjoying the flow of your life. Right? So we need to start to go with the flow of things, yogis, that how can I stop resisting and trying to block what's before me? You know, how can we be like water and flow through these difficult times that we're in? So the moon also is a powerfully resonant symbol of the Svadhisthana chakra. We're in a full moon now. It reminds us of the importance of change. Its symbolism is especially empowering if you feel the need to let go of past issues that are hindering your growth, and if you need to accept change and transition. As you let go of the familiar, safe, and secure, you free yourself to travel to unknown places and learn to value Svadhisthana energy for itself, not for what it brings. The moon energy helps you go with the flow, and is best practice. Today is a good day to do that. This exercise becomes more effective if you practice it every night throughout this lunar cycle. Vam is a sound of this chakra. Vam. So say it with me. Vam. 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 That's a sound, yogis, that I would like you to try to resonate with throughout your practice today. Today's practice is it's not that it's complicated. I have it written down just in case, because it's not familiar, right? We're usually in a restorative pose and we just flop ourselves down on a bolster, and this time I'm going to ask you to work a little bit to get your body onto the prop. So that being said, let's take a breath here and arrive. So yogis, Svadhisthana chakra is our sacral chakra, right? It's below the solar plexus, right? It's right in the reproductive organs. It's your pelvis, your hips, yes? Everything that's associated with water. So if I go right behind, if here is where my front hand is, the back of my hand, or my left hand is on my lower back, this is my kidneys, right? And so all of this is water associated. We have urinary bladder lines, kidney lines, gallbladder, liver. All of that is within this region. So we are going to do some poses that hit that directly, and we're going to do asymmetrical poses. So sit nice and tall on to those sits bones, yogis. And we just notice, right? We notice. I have to sit on a bolster or a zabu because I am unbalanced on one side. And so I need to sit up straight. I need to find that evenness, right? And so when I work, I too have to pay attention to one side. I have to pay attention to both sides because each of them need different attention, even if it's slight. So yogis, arrive and take a breath. Inhaling and exhaling through the nose. Cultivating that relationship to your Ujjayi breath. We're going to take a deep inhale, and on the exhale, please repeat Vam. 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 Yogi, set an intention for your practice today, whatever that is for you. Beautiful. So as I promised, we're going to start off, I'm going to start off dynamically, but then we're going to get into a couple of yin poses, and then we're going to start the restorative practice or the part of it. But first, I'm going to re-establish how to fold a blanket, right? So, right here we are with a nice long blanket. We fold it in half, and it's kind of like in this long rectangular shape, right? So if you have one of these Mexican blankets, these are usually the blankets that we use in a yoga practice. If you have a regular blanket, that's great. And then you fold that in half, right? Then you fold that in half, and then you could fold that in half. So any of those shapes we are going to use today. Yogis, the fringe goes away from you. So it's important. I usually use the long way, right? And this is the longest version. So I could lie on it, and that's what I'm going to do now, so I could have a head start on that. So we could have a cushion on the bottom of us, even though this is going to be a yin beginning. I like to set up the bottom blanket as well. Okay, yogis. So we're going to place our hands on the mat, knees on the mat, feel your shins on the ground, and just do a couple of cat-cows. Remember, this is not for depth. This is for just mobility of the spine and how we go into flexion and extension, primary and secondary curves of your spine. Noticing how, you know, that pelvis starts to anteriorly and posteriorly tilt, because our focus will be on the pelvis and the hips and the lower back. Good, just a couple more, yogis, connecting that to your breath. Good, yogis. So nice neutral spine. Extending that right leg behind you. And just feeling the length behind that right leg. And feeling all that fascial network just pulling. Bringing the right foot forward in between your hands. And take your right hand inside your right foot. And just find this low lunge or low lizard or baby lizard. And start to feel the expansion, maybe on the top of the left hip, the top of the left thigh. Maybe there's some compression in the right hip or the hinge of that hip. So we're starting shallow here, yogis. Remember, shallow to deep poses. Relax your head. Please take 3 more deep breaths right here, yogis. Anytime you like to repeat Vam, do so. And then gently, yogis, tuck the left toes underneath you and just hinge back, moving your hands with you, bringing that right knee down onto the ground, come back onto all fours. Just take a moment, extending that left leg behind you and feel the length of the left leg. Bringing the left foot forward, bringing the hands inside that left foot. Noticing everything, yogis, about the hips, the expansion, the compression. Two more breaths. Then gently, yogis, tuck the right toes underneath you, and then just bring your hands with you as you move that left foot back, left knee on the ground, and take a moment. Yogis, I'm going to place a blanket down underneath my hips. You don't have to do that, but we're going to come into Salabhasana, or what we call Sphinx, in the yin practice. Remember, yogis, you can put your head resting your forehead into your hands. Please relax your glutes. Noticing the compression in the lower back. Relax your head. So remember this area that we're targeting, our hips, our pelvis, our lower back, right? So a lot of these poses will be slight extension, right? This is an extension pose. Our hips are in extension right now. And some of us might feel that energy running down the belly, maybe down the tops of the legs, not only on the lower back. Take 3 more breaths, yogis. Then gently, yogis, just take a breath here and place your hands down on the ground as you lower your body and forehead to the floor just for a moment. And just let your hips roll from side to side, maybe your forehead from side to side. And then press yourself back, yogis, and find a child's pose. Just notice from that extension, notice how this flexion feels. One more deep breath. And then gently, yogis, place your hands on the ground and then roll yourself up, vertebrae by vertebrae. Just take a moment. Okay, yogis, so we're going to start this practice today. Now, I'm going to use a bolster. I'm going to use all these props. So I'm going to put a bolster behind me. And then I'm also going to use a block. And I like to bolster myself up and pad myself up. So this is going to be a one-legged half bridge pose. So I like for us to lie on the bolster, right? Press your hips up like if you're coming into a bridge. Lower your hips down or the sacrum onto the block. Keep one leg up, one knee high, and the other leg down. Now, if you wanted to, yogis, you could put a blanket underneath this opposite leg as well. You could even put a bolster or a blanket on top of this leg. And just let's be here for a moment. And just notice, yogis, notice maybe a tingling sensation or any kind of sensation in the pelvis or the hips. Maybe a sensation of lightness. We're going to take 2 more breaths here. Take a moment, yogis, and then bring that left foot up, grab a hold of that blanket, and just place the blanket on the right side, extending the right leg out. You know, you could even put a block underneath your right heel, whatever that is, whatever you need to support this long leg. Do that. If you have sandbags and you like sandbags or a rice bag, you could put it on top of your right thigh or on top of your belly or your hips. Asymmetrical work is really important for us to start to investigate. It's because we are asymmetrical creatures. And sometimes we carry more tension on one side than the other. Always the possibility of repeating VAM is available to you. Two more breaths. And gently, yogis, remove that right blanket and just lay it to the side and bring your feet up for a moment and take a breath. Now, yogis, this next pose is going to take some thought on your part. I'm just going to remove the block and lower myself down and then roll over to a seat. So if you need to change your bolster or, change your props out, you can. This is going to be a reclined half bound angle. Yeah. So we're going to do reclined angle on both sides. So if you need your props, you know, I want to show you different ways to do it. I'm going to fold my blankets like blocks. There's some of us that like to lie on a block, right, for a bound angle as we place the feet, the knees open and the props underneath the thighs. Or, and here's another way, and I love the size of this zafu, so I'm going to put it underneath my bolster and come into an incline. Yeah. Again, if you don't like that, you don't have to do that. And for that, I don't need, for me personally, to sit on a block. But if you do, okay. If not, okay. Right? So sit right up onto the bolster, soles of the feet together. Right? Here is a reclined bound angle. But we are going to do a one-legged reclined bound angle. So I'm going to keep my right knee bent. I'm going to extend my left leg. So if I need again to use that blanket underneath that left leg, then do so. And notice the feeling of weightlessness that we have on that long leg. The feeling of openness that comes to the pelvic region. Take 2 more breaths here, yogis. And then gently, yogis, find some movement. As we gently bring that left knee in, feet together, and just find Sapta. And find this reclined position. If you need to roll that blanket underneath the left hip, great. Just be here for 2 deep breaths. And maybe reciting Vam, Vam. And then extending that right leg out, yogis. Feeling supported, yogis, and feeling unblocked, being able to just go with the flow. Unrestricted in the sense that you don't restrict yourself or block yourself. Feel the sensations, yogis, or allow yourself to feel the sensations from the hip all the way to the soles of your feet. Take 2 more breaths. And then gently bring your right foot in to meet your left. And just be here for another 2 breaths. Gently, yogis, placing your feet on the ground, gently bringing the knees together, removing the blankets from your side, and just lay them onto the side of you. So yogis, we're going to roll to the side and just sit up again because we have to change the bolster and change our direction. So I don't want the bolster so high. I do want it on an incline, but I'm going to use a lower block for that. And I'm going to take off the zabu. Yeah. And you don't even need to use that if you don't want that. I'm also going to just place a blanket on one side of my bolster, and I'm going to place a blanket on my shoulders because I like all of that stuff. So I'm just going to face the bolster. I'm going to straddle the bolster, right? And I'm going to come on to one side. So I'm going to put my left leg on the bolster, and I'm going to lower myself down. Scoot yourself up so that your booty hits it. And then if you want to, you could place your right leg on the blanket or not. Now, some of us like to put our head on a block at the end, but this really is more of an inversion than anything else. But it's not only an inversion, it is an asymmetrical pose, right? So just take a breath and notice what the legs feel like. If you need something underneath your neck, yogis, you can roll up the blanket and place it underneath the neck. So take like 5 deep breaths here, yogis. Yogis, this is a practice that you can do later on and pause it and be in these poses for much longer. Especially during this moon cycle. Take 2 more breaths, yogis. And gently, yogis, remove the blanket from the right side, and we're just going to place it on the left side. We're just going to straddle the bolster with our legs and just maybe scooch our hips over a little bit to the left as we place the right leg on top of the bolster and extend the left leg down. And take a breath. 2 more breaths. And then gently, yogis, release that left blanket, placing the left foot on the ground, and then just place the right foot on the ground and straddle your blanket or your bolster for a moment. And take a moment here. We're going to stay exactly where we are. But we're going to scooch ourselves up just a tiny bit more towards the bolster. And I do, excuse me, like, for me personally, I like to roll a blanket and just place it underneath my neck. So yogis, we're going to place both of our feet on top of this elevated bolster and cross our ankles. And we're not going to be here for very long, about 3 more breaths. But notice that feeling of lightness. And so any movement, asymmetrical movement, is going to, affect the hip. And so that's why we're doing one leg at a time, and just notice any sensation in the legs and the hips and the pelvis and the lower back. So yogis, whatever leg you have on top, I have my left leg crossed on top. I'm going to take my left leg over to the right and cross my right leg underneath and come into cow face pose on the bolster, which is like a phenomenal pose. And just love the experience of it, yogis. Take 3 more breaths here, yogis. And then gently, yogis, if you're like me, my palms are facing the ceiling, just place the palms on the ground, right? And just start to bring your legs up, hinging at the hips. And just let your quads go towards the chest a bit and rock gently for a moment. Relax your shoulders. Good. Extending your legs on top of that bolster, yogis, gently. We're going to place the right leg or whatever leg you didn't have crossed over. And just find this crossed ankle position. And then gently, yogis, start to cross that right leg to the left and cross that left leg underneath and find your cow-faced or Gomukhasana pose. Two more breaths here, yogis. Gently placing your hands onto the ground, yogis, and then bring your knees or hinge at the hip. So flex at the hip, bring your knees towards you, unbind the legs, and just bring your right hand on your right knee and your left hand on your left knee. And just bring your knees in towards the chest a little bit and find a little bit of compression as you relax your neck and your head. Maybe making circles. And take a breath. We're going to prepare ourselves for our Savasana, yogis. So you can, I would love for you to just move the bolster and place it on the ground. Right, and just, you could remove the block from underneath that. And then bring the bolster closer to you. And just lie your legs on top of the bolster. I did it in a very lazy fashion, but if you want to get up and move the bolster and then lie back down, great. But if you could just kick that out with your legs gently and just lie your legs on top of the bolster. Inhale here, yogis, and then exhale through the mouth. And do that again. Just breathe normally. And notice, yogis, all the sensations, everything about you. Notice the sense of peace and calm, like you're floating on water. Or fluid as water. Peaceful, tranquil qualities of calm, still water. Yogis, you can stay in this Savasana for as long as you need to. If you will stay in it, please be mindful when you wake up. Do so slowly and mindfully. But if you need to wake up with me, yogis, please start to find some movement. Maybe rolling off your legs off the bolster, coming onto the side, and then pressing yourself up to a seat. Bringing your hands to heart center, yogis, and tilt your chin in towards your chest. Find your peace, yogis. Stay safe and stay at home. Sat Nam and Namaste.